In our last lecture, we have seen how to generate random numbers by using linear congruential method. We will be taking brief recap of that method. Details, if you want, you can refer to last lecture. All right. Uh, every ith random number is generated by using this formula, wherein mod is a very important operation. Okay, the formula is a into previous random number plus c mod m. Mod m means after dividing this quantity a plus z I minus 1 plus c by m, whatever remains is the new random number, and then that new random number will come in this place with a, c and m being constant. We will get new remainder and that will be new random number. Okay. A, C and M are constants and Z0. You have to begin somewhere, right? So that beginning number is called a seed number, which you will be placing here, and you will get Z1. Then Z1 you will be placing here, you will get Z2 and so on. All right. So when you divide this number by m, the remainder obviously will be less than m and greater than 0. So zi, this number, new random number, will always be lying between 0 to m minus 1. Okay, all of them being integers. Right? You can test it with common division. If you divide any number by 5, remainder will range from 0 to 4. Okay, it will never be 5, and if it is, then it will be wrong division. So your remainder means random number, remainder is the random number, remainder will lie between 0 to m minus 1. Now, if you want random number to be between 0 to 1, what you have to do, you divide this random number by this m. Okay, m will be definitely greater than zi, because zi lies between 0 to m minus 1. So this number will lie between 0 to 1. So this is how you get the random numbers to lie between 0 to m minus 1 and to lie between 0 to 1. Right? Now, in this formula, a is some integer which is found by a dash plus 4k, where a dash is certain odd number. It may be 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. You may take this number to anything you like, and plus 4k, and k is an integer. Okay, which could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, so by using this formula a dash plus 4k, where a dash is odd number and k is the integer, you will be getting a. Okay, all then c, you may take any integer value. If you take c equal to 0, then your formula will become a into zi minus 1 mod m. So this additive thing is going away from it. Okay, this thing will not be there. Okay, so this turns to what is called a multiplicative congruential generator. Okay, if c is 0. If c is anything other than 0, any integer other than 0, then it will be linear congruential generator, right? If c is equal to 0, LCG will turn to MCG. And if it is not 0, then c is to be taken as prime number. So all the care is taken in this method so as to have the longer cycles of the random number, right? And m is taken as 2 to the power b, because when I take m as 2 to the power b, then it becomes convenient for computer to find to carry out this operation. Like for example, suppose say if I was required to, humanly I was required to find out the remainder, then if my quotient is if my divisor is 10 to the power b, for example, suppose say I divide 1197 by 100, then remainder will be last two digits, that is 97, last two digits. Okay, And why last two digit? Because I have taken it m equal to 10 to the power 2. And whatever be your number, any big it be, your remainder will be given by last two digits. Mod will be given by last two digits, right? So for computer, as the base of computer is based on binary number, that is 2, base is 2. So if you divide any number by 2 to the power 6, then that binary number's last 6 places will be giving you the remainder. As simple as that. If you have this m as any other thing other than this, then you will have to actually perform division, and lastly what you get will be the remainder. Here you don't have to. If your divisors are 2 to the power b in binary case and 10 to the power b in decimal case, remainders will be given by last b places of the number you are dividing. That's simple, very simple. Okay. So by taking these values, you will be generating random numbers, and that you have generated in last class. What is important for this class is quality of random number. How will we know that the random numbers we are generating are really random? Or there is any pattern in between the number? Okay. So there are two criteria on which we measure the quality of random number. One criteria is the numbers must follow uniform distribution. Every number will get generated with equal probability. Every number will get selected with equal probability. And second quality, these numbers are independent of each other. Now one may argue that if I take numbers like 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, so on up till 1, then every number has equal probability, then every number follows uniform probability distribution. All the numbers follow uniform probability distribution, but they are not random, they are very systematic. And therefore there is second property which is to be verified, whether the numbers are independent of each other, whether there exists any autocorrelation between the number. Both are important. Just by checking the numbers for uniform distribution, you cannot claim that the numbers are random numbers. You equally have to test for independence of the number. Okay, and in uniform distribution, whether the numbers you are dealing with or which have been given to you are random numbers or not, for that you have to verify whether the numbers follow uniform distribution. And there are two ways of knowing whether the number follows uniform distribution or not. One way is a parametric test by non-parametric test by Kolmogorov Smirnov. Okay, very simple test. And another chi-square test. By these two tests, you will come to know whether the distribution, whether the numbers given to you follow uniform distribution or not. Another is chi-square test. All right. We'll be seeing both of them. Then there is something called as test for independence, and that is done by autocorrelation. Whether there exists any autocorrelation between the numbers, okay, that we will be seeing. Right? If there exists, then the numbers are not independent. If autocorrelation doesn't exist, then the numbers are independent. Now we will be seeing whether the numbers given to us are random number or not, once by Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and next time by chi-square test. So here we go. Our first problem to test whether the numbers given follow whether the numbers given, these are 5 numbers given to you, 0.81, 0.14, 0.44, 0.93 and 0.05, whether these numbers are random or not. Alright, whether these numbers are random or not, that you have to check by Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. So you will be taking the hypothesis that the data follows uniform distribution. If they follow uniform distribution, then we have the grounds to say that these numbers are random. Okay, and that is our null hypothesis. Data is uniform. An alternate hypothesis is data is not uniform. Right. So what we will be doing in Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, particularly for testing whether the data follow uniform distribution or not, what we will be doing will be first of all arranging these numbers given 0.81, 0.14, etc. in ascending order. Like first number will be placing as 0.05, next 0.14, then 0.44, then 0.81, then 0.93. Now, if the data is following is following uniform distribution, then the data must lie in equal windowed or equal baskets. Like we have 5 numbers here, so if we were to form the baskets, first basket will be from 0 to 0.2, another basket will be from 0.2 to 0.5, that is the width of the window will be 1 divided by number of random numbers you have. Okay, so you have 5 random numbers, so width of the basket will be 1 upon 5, that is 0.2. If you would have had 20 random numbers to verify whether those are random or not, then the width of the window or width of the basket would have been 1 by 20. 1 by 20 means 0.05, right? Each basket you would have taken 0.05, 0 to 0.05, 0.02, 0.05 to 1, 0.05 to 0.1, 0.1 to 0.15, so on up till 1 you would be taking. So in this case, your baskets will be from 0 to 0.2. 0 I have written a little offset. Okay, so just below 0.5, 0.05 I have 0.2, then 0.4, then 0.6, then 0.8, and then 1. These are equally spaced, and I expect that these numbers, if the numbers are in their own baskets, because I have arranged these numbers in ascending order, and I expect that each basket will be containing one number. All right. So if that happens, then it is uniform distribution, right? If that doesn't happen, then we will have to take the support of some statistics to just claim whether the data is uniform or not. Ideally, if all the numbers lie in their own basket, then they are uniform. But it may not happen, it will not happen all the time that the numbers will be falling in their own baskets. So what we do first, we just test whether the number is within the upper bound of the window. Within the upper bound of the window corresponding to that number. Okay, so this is the upper bound of the window corresponding to this number. This is the upper bound of the window corresponding to this number. This is the upper bound corresponding to this number, and so on. So what I will be doing, I will be taking the difference between this and this number, this minus this. Okay, 0.2 minus 0.05. How far this number is away from upper bound. So this minus this 0.05 minus 0.2. Okay, 0.05 minus 0.2. So that difference is called as D plus. The extent to which the number is away from the upper bound. But that should be before the upper bound. Okay, the number should be before the upper bound. If the number concerned is after the upper bound, then you won't be finding the difference. So D plus is 0.2 minus 0.05, 0.15, 0.4 minus 0.14, 0.26 and zero point 0.6 minus 0.44 will be 0.16, and then zero point 0.8 minus 0.81. Now here you won't be taking difference because 0.81 is beyond the wall. In short, if the difference is coming negative, okay, difference of what? Difference of this number, that is 1 I upon n minus ri. This number minus this number is coming negative, then you won't be writing that number. Or other way, if this number is beyond this number, then you don't find the difference. Then zero point 0.7 minus 1 minus 0.93, that is within the upper bound, so you will be finding the difference 0.07. Okay, amongst all this, what is the maximum distance that you will be writing here, and that you find 0.26. Okay, and now now what you will be doing here, you will be doing the same thing, but now from lower bound. Okay, it's as far as lower bound of this number, or this number's basket is concerned. Okay, that this number should be beyond after the lower bound. Okay, obviously. So 0 minus now you will be taking this number minus this number, 0.05 minus 0, 0.05, then 0.14 minus, this is the lower bound for this number. Okay, this number is expected to lie in the basket 0.2 to 0.4, so this is the lower bound. So 0.14 minus 0.2. Now this number is before the lower bound, so you can't find the distance. Distance makes sense if this number is after the lower bound, or if you do, or else the other way of looking at this, if this minus this is coming out to be negative. This minus this means random number, ith random number, minus I minus 1 upon m is coming out to be negative, then you have to write dash. So likewise 0.44 minus 0.4, 0.04, 0.81 minus 0.6 is coming out to be 0.21, because this is after this. This number is after the lower bound. And 0.93 minus 0.8 is coming out to be 0.13. Suppose say this number would have been 0.73, then you won't be finding the difference there. Again, so amongst all this number, you will be finding maximum 0.21, and amongst this two, you will be finding maximum, that is 0.26. Calculations of the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test are what? Now you have to refer to the Kolmogorov-Smirnov table. Okay, you will be having that table, right? I'll get that table for you, but what you will be doing with that table, you will be taking a level of significance like 0.01 or 0.05, etc. And you will be taking degree of freedom one less than the data points you have. Okay, data points which you have are 5, so degree of freedom is taken one less than that, that is 4. All right, and then you will be finding for degree of freedom 4, that is in the column. It is written in the first column, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. That number, within that you will be searching in the fourth row corresponding to 4, and you will be searching in the column corresponding to alpha equal to 0.05, and there you get the value 0.565. Now, if the Dmax which you have found is less than D which you have found, which you get from table for degree of freedom 4 and significance value 0.05, then hypothesis is to be accepted. Null hypothesis is to be accepted, as you find here that that all these values, d max is 0.26 and here it is 0.565. As long as this is less than this, you will be accepting the hypothesis that the data is uniform. This is simple Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. Not much of the calculations, right? Only you have to refer the table. Calculations are that way simple. All right. So the data is uniform, right? So what we will be doing here now, we'll be going to chi-square test. Before we go on to chi-square test, I will just bring to you notice. Suppose say I would have had all the numbers less than what do you say, to lie between 0 to 0.2 instead of having this spread of the random numbers. All right. Suppose say all the random numbers which I would have got, all the numbers which I would have got would have lied between 0 to 0.2, and say some number out of this 5 would have, maximum number would have been 0.2 itself. Now, now when you take the upper bound, for example, this value instead of being 0.93, it would have been 0.2. And what would have been the difference in that case? 1 minus 0.2, that would have been 0.8, and possibly that would have been maximum. Okay. Right in the beginning, I know that the data is not uniform because all the data points lie between range 0 to 0.2, whereas this data point were expected to lie equally between various baskets, equally in various baskets. But that's not happening with these numbers, which I have taken to lie between 0 to 0.2. Got it? So 0.8, and that in that case 0.8 is, if I compare d max, suppose say that comes 0.8, and here I get this number that is Kolmogorov-Smirnov table number from that table for degree of freedom 4 and level of significance 0.05, 0.565 it would have been, and that number would have been greater than this one. In that case, you obviously will be saying that this data is not uniform, right? Got it? So that is Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. Okay. Then coming on to chi-square test, it's again the easy one. Okay. Now I have lot of data. Okay. I have a lot of data, and say 100 data points I have. Okay, so what I did, I tried to form a histogram. I wanted to form the histogram, or I just tried to count the data which lie within the slab 0 to 0.2. 0.2 to 0.4, for example, here 0 to 0.2 I have 25 data points, 0.2 to 0.4 I have 15, 0.4 to 0.6 I have 8, 0.6 to 0.8 I have 17, and 0.8 to 1 I have 35. Okay, it may be possible that you are given the data set of 100 numbers, and you will be counting how many numbers lie between 0 to 0.2, how many lie between 0.2 to 0.4, and so on up till 0.8 to 0.1, and you get this one, right? If all the numbers would have been 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, then by seeing this numbers itself, observed count, if all that would have been a 20 or with very little plus minus, then I would have claimed that the data is uniform just by visually seeing it. But now the spread here is between 0.4 to 0.6, there are only 8 values, and 0.8 to 1 there are 35. Then it becomes doubtful situation whether the data is random or not random. If all these numbers are comparable and a little bit around 20, then it is uniform distribution. Okay, and second extreme, if here you get all the numbers, all the data values which you have lie between 0 to point 0.2. Okay, whereas they were supposed to lie equally between this labs 0 to point 0.2, point 0.2 to point 0.4. If all the data lie between 0 to point 0.2, all 100 values lie between 0 to point 0.2, then also I would have said with confidence that the data is not random. It doesn't follow uniform distribution. So this is the clinical test by which I may be in position to tell you whether the data is uniform or not. But if the data is like this, then I will have to think little more. Okay. So I have the null hypothesis that the data follow uniform distribution, and alternate hypothesis data does not follow uniform distribution. So what I do, I try to find chi-square value, and it is very simple. It is observed frequency minus expected frequency square of this for ith slab, observed frequency for ith slab minus expected frequency for ith slab, square of this divided by expected frequency for ith slab, summation of all such I slabs. Okay, so right here expected frequency for all the slabs was 20, because I want to see that all the numbers are equally distributed within the slab 0 to point 0.2, 0.2 to 0.4. So there must be 20 numbers in 0 to 0.2, then 0.2 to 0.4 there should be 20 numbers, because I have 100 numbers. So in first slab they should be equally distributed. If I would have had 10 slab, then what I will be doing, I will be expecting my expected frequency would be 10, 10, 10, 10 each. Okay. So number of observations you have divided by number of slabs you have will be the expected frequency. Here it is 10. Here it is 20, because there are 5 slabs. 100 divided by 5, 20. So 25 minus 20 square divided by 20, 15 minus 20 square divided by 20, then 8 minus 20 square divided by 20, then 17 minus 20 square divided by 20, 35 minus 20 square divided by 20. Alright, so this evaluates to 21.4. This evaluates to 21.4. Now, what you will be doing, you will be once again referring to something called as chi-square table. Okay, chi-square table will be available and you can use, particularly if your exam is conducted on some digital medium, then you can use chi-square table available on Google. In case of Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, you can refer to Kolmogorov-Smirnov table. Okay, so in chi-square table, for degree of freedom, once again 4, because you have 5 data points. So degree of freedom will be, you have 5 slabs, so you are referring to 5 data points while finding this one. So degree of freedom is 4, one less than the data point, and the level of significance you are taking 0.05. So in the table, chi-square table, you are getting chi-square value for degree of freedom 4 and level of significance 0.05, 9.49. So if the chi-square value which you have obtained is less than this, then your null hypothesis is accepted. Otherwise, null hypothesis is rejected. In this case, it is obviously rejected. So that that means your data doesn't follow uniform distribution, and that is not random. Okay, that is not random. Okay, so I will. Your problem is over. Numbers are not random. Now I'll discuss pertaining to some case, extreme case, whereby if you forget which number has to be less than which, then you can question to yourself that all these values had those been 20, had those been 20 observed frequencies, then your chi-square value would have turned to 0. This value would have turned to 0, and chi-square table will be giving you a value always mostly greater than 0, right? So it means that if the data is to be uniform, then this value has to be less than what you get from table. Okay, so that is the chi-square test. Very simple, and it's not that these tests are to be used to just test uniform distribution. Your Kolmogorov-Smirnov test can be used to test any other distribution as well. Chi-square also used test is also used to test verify whether it follows certain given distribution or not. All right. So here we'll be stopping. No, we will be better completing that autocorrelation part as well.